breaking down the 50K a month infrastructure and systems. Guys, I have paid hundreds and thousands of dollars and put down hundreds and thousands of hours to, first of all, make the system, perfect it, learn it from other people, and make it a masterclass. Now, I wish you guys just do one thing. Take notes. You can open up a notepad, note whatever you have, or you can just basically take screenshots because it's going to be extremely sourceful. I'm going to give you like step-by-step guides on how to break it down. So if you're someone who's making 20 to 30K a month, the main issue is that you are not the issue here. You scaling to 30 to 50K, or even let's say 20 to 50K, is not the issue. You have done some things right. I'm not saying that it's completely, we have to like re-infrastructure. And people, of course, if you have someone who's saying, you have to re-infrastructure every single thing, you have to change every single thing, you're probably talking to the wrong guy, because you know what you're doing and you just can't scale it. Because getting to this point requires, playing the game. You are just playing a team game on solo mode, which leads to doubting yourself, making the wrong changes, and over analyzing everything. This is a really common issue that I see with my clients who have like a minimal teams. Or I'm not saying that you guys need to have like 50 people under you. You need to have 4 or 5 good people under you who understand what they're doing, and you can kind of have the data to drive back every single decision that you're going to make. So here's what you do instead. You need to hire A plus talent. But now the question is, how are you going to hire it? There's a checklist you can go off. There's a mental checklist. You can take a screenshot. As I said, they need to be extremely hardworking. They need to have zero ego. And they need to value growth over money. They need to be young and they want to be like you. They want to idolize you. Now, the reason why they need to have they can be confident. They can be a little bit even cocky. But I'm not saying that they refuse your feedback. That's the main thing. Because if you take an A plus talent player, I don't care. Let's say I hired the best DMs, that I hired the best editor in the world. Guys like maybe he makes a movie for Netflix. Who cares? If that guy would not hear my opinion or would not hear my suggestion, and he just discards it or doesn't take it, or he fights for me with it, I don't want that person. Second of all, they should be young, because young people have a lot more energy. They can do things better, and they are just willing to learn, and they want to value growth over money. That's the biggest one, because there's always going to be opportunities that pay the most. There's always going to be teams and companies that are going to, just give them more commission, give them more base, like anything monetary wise would make you kind of lose them. Now, I'm going to also tell you how to retain these A players and how you can find them. Now, if you want actual step-by-step guides, you can, of course, book a call with me. We don't really need humans, to be honest, because we just have that good systems. We replace humans. That's what our main job is. That's what I do. But let's say you want to hire people, I would say go off Twitter. Twitter is the best place to find people. A lot of smart people are in there, and go on inside Discord communities. Or you can just, if you probably have a decent amount of following, you can do job posts, but you're not going to find talent. Go on Twitter, go on inside groups, and even just post a story for people. And posting the story is actually super good, because they're watching it, they want to be like you. This covers 4 or 5 parts already. They want to be like you. They're already familiar with the content. They know what you do, and it's easier to teach them and can't just get on moving. This alone will scale to 50K a month. This is for one of our clients. Now, how do you keep the A player talent? How do you keep them in your team? Because the issue is that as soon as you're going to hire A player talent, they're going to get a lot of opportunities because they're good at their job. Because the issue with saturated markets is, and I like saturated markets, if I'm going to be honest, a lot of people hate them. I love them. Why? Because if you're saturated, and if you're, let's say, the top 10, you're going to make all the money. 90% of people are not going to make the money. If you're on a smaller niche where only few people are make money, you only make the few amounts. But if you're let's say you're in e-commerce, right? There's e-commerce, there's hundreds and thousands of people that don't make money with e-commerce, but the ones that do are going to make a lot more money. Same with info, same with anything. So it's good to be saturated, because as soon as you're going to have A player talents, they are the top 10%, and they are going to get reached out by your competitors. They are going to poach them. Be ready. So how do you keep them with you? Because they're going to give them higher commissions. They're going to reach out and they're going to even ask them, because that's what people do. I've lost some good people. You've probably lost some good people. If you ever tried hiring anybody, if you haven't hired anybody, you have to learn a lot of skills right now. But you got to have a mission. You need something bigger than money and bigger than yourself or bigger than the team. Now, the reason why this works so well is that, let's say if you were with Iman Agachi, and that's how I think he say his last name. If you're with Mr. Sophisticated that treats his mom all right, if you're with that guy, with Mr. Classy, and you found him in 2018, let's say, and you're part of his team, and he sold you on who he's going to become in 2025, you would be with him. He might not pay the best. There's maybe Alex Mosey who's sitting there and he's like, hey, work with me. But because Iman's gonna go to the roof, you know that he's gonna get he's gonna have $20 million YouTube VSLs. He's gonna make a lot of money. He's gonna buy a Warp. He's gonna do all these crazy things. If he sold you on that mission, if he sold you on that dream, because he's trying to become a billionaire, and the biggest guy in the info game, the best guy in the info game, he probably is. I think Alex Emoji just took him, but that's for another video. But basically, you're gonna see that this trajectory everybody wants to be on. Everybody wants to be on a momentum. Everybody wants to be with someone who's able to ride the wave. Everybody wants to ride the wave. That's the kind of system you need to understand. Like, one of my setup for our clients made an entire workflow and reason why people were coming in down the funnel. So you need someone who's a specialist and who's obsessive. And this is another the biggest reason which I see with a lot of people is that when they hire A player talent, they need to let them off. If you micromanage them too much, they will leave. If you sit there and like kind of like deluge them and not give them the respect, not give them the props, they are going to leave. You need to build a culture around, because as soon as you can attach the mission to your offer, whatever you're doing, they're gonna do their best. They're gonna become obsessive. They're gonna become a specialist. That's what you need. You need to put your team first and their goals first. You can't just expect them to put you first. That's the simplest, biggest change you can make if you already have a team, is that you put your interests first. You treat them like family. You ask them, hey bro, what's going on? Are you good? Are you not good? I literally had a guy who I'm not gonna say his name, but basically he had a complete like EOD form, end of day, of how they felt. What do they eat? Like, I think, yeah, Brandon did it. I think Brandon also did it. Brandon Carter, King Keto did it, where he would ask like, what did they eat? How were they performing? How were they feeling? And they would ask them what's happening. Same, I think, with Grant Cardone. All these people, they do the stuff. They want to take their good care of their team. Because if you put them first, they'll put you first. As it's a win-win situation. And that's what you guys need to understand. Like, when you are in synchronicity, when you are with your boys, you're that feeling what you get when you're with your boys and you don't really care what's around. That's the same kind of environment. Of course, like, not in a mischief way, but you need to build that same kind of environment with your team where they do not care what's outside happening. They do not care how much money is being asked there, because they love the teams, love the culture. That's how these that's how these mega companies, mega conglomerates keep their highest talents with them. Now, of course, they have the ability to hire and fire. You need to also keep that in mind. Do not become too emotionally attached with the person that you're hiring. They always need to see that, hey, if you lose your edge, as soon as you're going to lose, we have a bunch of people here who are ready to, just get hired and fired. And you need to understand that completely. Now, let me kind of like show you screenshots of like, this was sent to me by Uncle Rob. I call him Uncle Rob. But, it was just a really, like a low point. I was just texting him and he just gave me that. If he right now says, join my team, if he right now says, do X, Y, Z, I'll do it. Because I was just working a lot, and I just had some, issues going on at that time, and things weren't hidden. And I just like reached out to him on stories and stuff. And I was thinking, okay, can we make something? Can we do something? And he responded, and which is crazy, right? But that's the kind of stuff you need. And also, this creates this kind of leverage and environment from the outside. People know when you treating the people right. This is someone who commented under one of my stories, and they were like, you have done a good job, looking credible from the outside, so I value your perspective and opinion. And you guys need to understand that the same thing, because if you are someone who's not able to get that effect, people will not buy from you. But people know when you're treating other people right. People know when you are talking like not from your ass and you actually are doing the right thing. People pick up on that. It's super crucial. Let me move on now. Some of the other things I want to point out about like having this kind of structure is that you need to treat them like family, because really you just should, if I'm going to be honest, because once you have the team culture down, I told this already, they won't leave for the money. Because I was the best setter and I worked due to the culture. Now I keep a weekly call with my team and ask them how's their life, what's happening, what's going off and on, and you just need more people who can create systems for you. Because once I did that, that guy became obsessive. He was like, okay, let me fix this, let me add this. I'm like, go off, do your thing. Because you as a business owner, how much are you gonna do? If you want to be world class, there needs to be amount and like there needs to be huge sums of data that's getting structured. Because what happens at one point is that once you scale past a certain point, you're now competing with the big sharks. You're not competing with yourself. When you're making 10 or 20K a month, you're not competing with a lot of people. You're just competing with yourself, to be honest. Like there's you can have a piece of the pie. Like it's not that hard, right? But when you're scaling to 50K a month, now you're competing with other people. And the only difference and the only leverage you're going to have is having copious amounts of data and copious amounts of research getting done. And you can't do that. You're a single human being. You are the basically you need to cast a net. And you are the net. So you cannot sit there and make the cast and do it yourself. That's the entire difference. Let me move on. And like you gotta see like what's the best are doing. And there's one of the calls that I took with, you probably know who he is. But I was just constantly, I'm here to learn. I just jump on calls with people. I do this all the time. I'm trying to get new opportunities. And just like you gotta just learn from the best, and you gotta see what's happening and replicate their system and add your own touch to it. I hope you guys really like this video. The last point that I'll make in is that if you ever feel like the systems are not at point, if you ever feel like something is missing, that's not your fault. That's your leadership and your management's fault. And if you don't have a management, if you don't have a leadership, then you're probably doing a lot of things wrong, to be honest. You get people, I have scaled my clients 50K a month with one VA, and that's it. And one editor, that's it. So two people, that's it. And himself. Rest are systems. Of course, you want the same systems. You want the same kind of quality of data tracking that we do, which is super specific. I even made a video, should pop up here and there, where I talked about booking, 338 calls in 30 days. Absolutely insane. All qualified, low ticket funnel, all that stuff. And if you want that to do the same for you guys, if you want the same kind of knowledge and just this, even if you guys don't want the system, you want the knowledge, book a call with me, because I have a lot to talk about and I've paid a lot of money to kind of get all this knowledge in. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.